Yo, what's going on, guys? Fate here, and welcome to week one of the UPDL, a new draft league I'm playing in, a bit more of a casual style one. Some of the SDL goons went out and created. So, before I get into the actual battle and stuff, I do want to go over a quick, like a draft recap style thing. But yeah, I'm back. Like the video if you like it, subscribe for more, whatever. Like I said, this is a bit more of a casual one, so um, yeah. Anyway, pick one. I got our boy Gouging Fire, and you might be thinking, "Wow, what a terrible first pick." This guy can Terra under this rule set. So, and there was a decent amount of other Terra bans. They kind of made me feel like this guy was the absolute best #1 pick. Obviously, the other ones that I considered were Valiant, normal stuff. But I decided to go with this guy. Like I said, a bit more of a casual one. So, I mean, this guy might be like the most broken for my competitive sense as well. But regardless, obviously, insane setup threat with Terra. Has the bulk to kind of set up on whatever it wants with Terra, and has Morning Sun to heal back up. It's just insane. It's going to be a hefty setup threat every single week. So that was my first pick. As it comes back to me for round 2, I got the wheel. Picked up Greninja. Pretty good Mon, if I do say so myself. Obviously, Gouging Fire, not the fastest guy. So we pick up Greninja as another WinCon guy. But also that speed that you definitely want to get at the beginning of your drafts, because as the drafts get later on, the fast mons just get more and more shit. So you definitely want to get fast mons to start. So we got Gren. Next up, we got Glamora. I thought Glamora would be a really cool pick to pair with Gouging Fire and Greninja. Greninja just not the strongest guy. So having those hazards to really help it out in terms of getting those kills. Putting things into range is really, really nice. And then I also thought that having potential T-spikes and stuff is going to be really cool with Gouging Fire in terms of bulkier sets. So that's what I went with that. Next up, we got Ursaluna, a really big breaker, physical breaker. Obviously, Gren and Glamora can both kind of function as, especially Glamora, as like a special breaker. Gren too, but a bit more of a win con in this gen, I would say, with Battle Bond. Although like choice specs and other protein stuff can function as a breaker as well. Regardless, we got Ursaluna as a nice physical breaker because Gouging Fire normally going to be kind of a setup threat, not going to be what I want to break with. And I thought Ursaluna was a huge pick to get this late as well. I mean, this is almost a round 5 pick. Back to me on the wheel, obviously. All my picks are wheels from here on out. So I thought Gouging Fire was Gouging Fire. I thought Ursaluna was a huge thing to pair with Gouging Fire. It really gives me that high-end damage output that I want with the team to soften things up for when it's time for Gouging Fire to win the game. Next up, I got Corv. Now, Corv is generally like not a good Pokemon in draft. Like it's actually generally like really ass. But I went ahead and got it because I wanted something to be a bit of a connective tissue guy, which I feel like Corv is actually good at. It just normally can get taken advantage of a lot. But as a connective tissue pivot kind of guy, I think it can really function well here. And with Glamora, it's not going to be like my primary hazard removal, which can free up a move slot, which can make a bulk up a bit more bringable. So from that standpoint, it hopefully will get taken advantage of less and just be less ass. But also I think it just being a nice pivot guy is going to be really helpful in this league. I think overall the skill level not as high as some of the other leagues you've seen me playing on the channel. So I think it's going to be a very nice mon on the squad. And yeah, hopefully it doesn't get taken advantage of too hard. And it can be a nice connective tissue pivot kind of guy. Next up, you see I kind of went on a run with just pivots, straight pivots here. We get Rotom-Mow. Rotom-Mow is one of my favorite mons. I think it's very, very good. And I also think it brought something nice to the squad. I didn't have a great water resist. Obviously, Gren, not a very good water resist. and Corv, like I said, can get taken advantage of a lot. So getting another ground immunity is really nice when you have Glamora and Gouging Fire. So I think having another ground immunity that's not Corv, that can't get taken advantage of quite so hard, is really huge. And then obviously it also gives me grass moves, which like stab grass moves, which is really nice, and electric obviously, which is really nice because bulky water types like probably were the biggest kind of threat to my team, just in terms of not being able to break them. So yeah, I think Rotom-Mow really makes a lot of sense here. Also gives me like another great pivot, which obviously Greninja is a pivot, but nobody else was. And Gren, if you're using it as a Battle Bond guy, not gonna fit U-turn every single week. So yeah, Rotom-Mow made a lot of sense to me. Mesprit, secondary rocker in case Glamora ever can't come or doesn't want to run rocks, obviously. And then also another pivot guy. Yeah, it's just a very good mon. Gives me a psychic resist outside of Corv, which, like I said, Corv sometimes can get really taken advantage of because it sucks in some ways. And this one has a real attack stat in both special and physical, and in insane move pool. I think Mesprit's just a really good mon. Really nice, kind of like I said about Corv, a connective tissue mon with a lot of utility in terms of rocks, knock, obviously pivot with U-turn, has trick, has all kinds of things it can do. Just very versatile mon that I thought was a great add to the squad. Next we got Tauros. I don't like Ren being the only water type on the team, so I went with Tauros. Tauros not necessarily exactly what you think of when you think bulky water, because it's not really going to switch into any like Scalds or anything like that, but it is something that I wanted to add to the squad regardless, just because Intimidate's really nice. I didn't have a fighting type, and I wanted an additional water type with the squad, and I think all the other water types like around this point tier like generally are not great. Like Jellicent, like I don't know, man, you can't catch me bringing Jellicent to a game. So we got this guy instead. Obviously gives me another offensive threat with this team, which is pretty much straight bulky offense. I mean, Corv, obviously very bulky, but everybody else doesn't click recover or anything like that. Besides, oh, okay, Gouging Fire does too, but obviously that's more of an offensive-oriented mon. And yeah, so I thought Tauros was a decent add in terms of like semi-bulky water to help cover Greninja's lack of bulkiness, and it gives me a fighting type, some extra speed on the team, which if you go back through, nobody besides Greninja was fast really at all. Would have been having to heavily rely on Rotom and Mesprit Scarfs, Glamora Scarf, stuff like that without Tauros. So I think Tauros is just a nice add from a speed perspective as well. Next, we got Abomasnow. Abomasnow might look like a weird guy to add. Frankly, he's here to click Aurora Veil, and that's about it. But I do think Aurora Veil is super duper nasty with the top four that I have. I mean, Gouging Fire can already set up on whatever it wants, but now it really can. It gives Gren some added bulk, so it can let it just kind of 2-co stuff, which normally it just you never stay in if you have to 2-co something, right? Like, you'd never be in a position where you sack something, you bring Gren in, and you have to 2-co something. Like, you never want to do that. You want to bring it in and OHKO something and, like, snowball the rest of the game from there. And with this, you can kind of do that if you're forced into a situation. Glamora has a really nice special attack stat, and can take advantage of the Veil by setting up a Polish later in the game, or even early on with like Meteor Beam. So Glamora definitely something that could also take advantage of it, and obviously Ursaluna, fairly bulky as it is, but you can really just stay in and spam your facade with the Veil up. So that was the idea behind Abomasnow. Also gives some like other stuff, like it does actually can switch in to like Scalds and stuff like that. Just another thing to kind of shore up the lack of a true bulky water. So I have it, Rotom-Mow and Tauros. Hopefully that can do the job. Yeah. Finally, we got Diancie. I didn't have a fairy type. Obviously, a second rock type, not generally something that you see, double rocks. But Um, yeah, I needed a fairy, and Diancie was the best fairy left. It probably should never, ever fall this far down. It's just a really nice mon. Gives me a tertiary rocker. Or I guess Ursaluna can rock too. Ursaluna's never clicking rocks. So it gives me a tertiary rocker. With that also has access to spikes as well. So secondary spiker. Has Encore. It just has an insane move pool for a mon that I'm getting as my last pick in the draft. And yeah, really, really like to get Diancie there that late as my fairy type. I think really helps shore up the defenses of the team. I feel like it's a nice balanced team, I guess bulky offense team that'll hopefully get me quite far. But with that, we'll get into my prep for the game. All right, we are here with the prep, and you should be able to see the matchup there on your screen. So first, let's go over the matchup. My opponent has Iron Valiant and Ursaluna Blood Moon, I would say, as their main massive threats, and Terra Ogerpon, just the normal grass one. And those are, I would say, their 3 best mods for sure. And obviously, Ursaluna Blood Moon is an extremely scary mod. But I do have the Corv to kind of help balance that out. And you'll see the Corv set right there. So it can switch in like relatively safely. Obviously, it could get taken advantage of with Combine, stuff like that. But Ursaluna is so slow, so it's not that big of a deal. Even if it does start CMing, we can U-turn out, whatever. Iron Valiant, obviously scary. But then we have enough like general bulk on the team to hopefully handle that. And Ogerpon, also a very scary mon. But we have this defensive Gouging Fire on the squad with the Rocky Helmet, Flare Blitz, Dragonclaw, D-Dance, Morning Sun. Now I will say, D-Dance should not have been on this set at all. It should not be DD. It should be Roar to roar out Dondozo coming in to set up on me, or even Dirge. Roar is definitely better than DD. I just thought maybe there's a way I can muscle through Dirge and Dondozo and set up with this late game. But it definitely should have been Roar. Anyways, that's what Gouging Fire is for. It's a nice, just bulky Fizdef guy to come in on Ogerpon, which is definitely coming, but it can also double as a nice low kick switch, mouse hold switch with the helmet, and obviously Fizdef. It can deal with Fizdef Valiant, you know, somewhat in at least some way. Next, like I said, this is the Corv. It's just Spadef for the Ursaluna, Iron Crown. Has Braybird to hit Ogerpon if we end up in that kind of situation as well. Bramblegast, stuff like that. Just Body Press Braybird, U-turn Roost. Feels pretty good with just that set. Next, we got Glamora here. Sludge Wave, Power Gem, Energy Ball, Earth Power. With a little bit of speed, just in case anything's trying to creep me. And then we are pretty much max special attack, max HP. If you look at this guy's moveset, it can hit pretty much every single mon on my opponent's team super effectively. It just has crazy coverage. And with that crazy coverage, hopefully it can come in and get some things done in terms of breaking, as well as putting up a T-Spike as it dies. That would be very sick. And you'll notice I don't have Mortal Spin on Glamora or Defog on Corviknight. And that's because my opponent just does not have a lot of threatening hazard setters on their team. You know, Ursaluna Blood Moon probably not going to be rocking the rocks. Ogerpon could have spikes, but that's not a big deal. And I actually don't remember if Rever Room gets anything, but I also didn't think Rever Room was super bringable. Or even if it is, it's like not that threatening either, because even if it gets T-Spikes, we have Glimmy on the team. So I foregoed any hazard removal, and I also foregoed the boots on Gouging Fire. For that reason, it just was not very threatened by hazards on my opponent's team. Next, we got Gren. Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, Grass Knot, Water Shuriken. We don't really need strong Water Stab and Hydro or Surf against my opponent's team. Dark Pulse is going to hit pretty much everything fairly well. Ice Beam going to hit Ursaluna Blood Moon, Ogerpon for super effective damage. And Grass Knot's going to kill the Dondozo and the Ursaluna Blood Moon for basically full, unless they have investment. And obviously Water Shuriken is going to help ensure that we can get this Battle Bond boost off. It has a pretty nasty matchup. Then we got Ursaluna Blood Moon. Just 4 attacks. Facade, Headlong Rush, Fire Punch, Trailblaze. With a little bit of speed. I actually am missing EVs on this. That's funny. With Facade, Headlong Rush, Fire Punch, Trailblaze, like I said. The speed EVs are to outspeed Skeleturge, if I recall. Yeah, pretty simple guy. Not a lot of good switch-ins. I mean, even Dondozo takes a shit ton. Mod's broken. Next, we got FizzDef Diancie. This is for Iron Valiant, as well as my rocker on the squad. We have Moonblast and Play Rough, so we can deal with, if it's CM, we can hit Play Rough, otherwise we can click Moonblast. And, yeah, that's the prep. I think we have a pretty solid team here, so let's go ahead and get into battle. Alright, we're here to go over the replay. Unfortunately, we're post-com this week. I'd like to do live-com as much as possible, but going to be post-com this week. But it's alright, I will be able to give you my greatest insights post-game now. I'm trying to remember what I led. I'll be honest, I don't remember, so I'm going to take a look. Okay, so I lead Glimmy. The thought process on the Glimmy lead is, if you just look at my opponent's team, potential likely leads, I thought, I thought Ogerpon was a potential lead. Yeah, I kind of think I just thought Ogerpon was going to get led. Maybe Dirge, but probably not Dirge. I think I was just trying to call an Ogerpon lead. And so I led Glimmy. And obviously that would have put me in a really good spot where I have all this coverage to pick whatever I want. And not great switch-ins and stuff like that. So I really thought that was a chance to get ahead very early on. But I also thought the drawbacks weren't very bad, even in this worst-case scenario where they lead the Blood Moon, because I do have the Corviknight in the back. And I will just go Corv, obviously. So I go Corv. They Earth Power, probably, they probably could have Blood Mooned there, but I understand wanting to Earth Power. And then they Focus Blast. I think they're Focus Blast trying to catch Roos, or maybe Focus Blast. I'm trying to, because they end up clicking Focus Blast a lot in this game. And I'm not really sure. I guess it's just a nice mid-ground. Or, like, because you don't know if I'm clicking Roost or not. Obviously, if I click Roost, you should want to Earth Power. But, yeah. Anyway. I body pressed this first one. They Focus Blast. And I'm like, okay, I thought about, like, U-turning there. But they stayed in. So I was like, alright, I'll just hit it again. Instead of U-turning. So I do body press into the Dirge. Not great. And then, obviously, here, Dirge is kind of a threatening mon. You would expect to just see a Torch Song here, but yeah, not too sure. So you turn out, and I go actually straight to Glamora, and I felt like Glamora was a nice play here because obviously it's going to take Torch Song very well, and it's not very threatened by Will-O-Wisp either. Although I could have probably just gone Luna and been fine in retrospect. I think maybe I was just worried about taking a bunch of damage with Luna more than anything, and Glamora obviously has sort of a similar effect. But we see Yawn, which is interesting. Yawn is pretty much going to just force me out. I don't want to go to sleep. So I go Luna this time, as they go hard Iron Valiant, which I was not expecting. I wasn't expecting hard. I think hard Iron Valiant on my Glamora is like kind of crazy. But obviously they're expecting me to switch. Presumably, they expected me to go Luna. I don't know what else you would be expecting me to go to make you want to go Valiant. So they do perfectly predict that. I do have full health Diancie, though, still. And they do have the special attack boost from the ability. But I'm not overly concerned with that. I think Diancie's just going to munch regardless. And probably would have. But actually, I'm pretty sure it would have. I'm sure I calced it. But we get crit, so we're not going to take 2 of these, and Diancie's just going to drop. Luckily, Glamora still at full health and can just come in here, eat any hit, and obviously if that got crit, the game was over. But the game is not over. We're able to Sludge Wave and pick up a kill on the Valiant. So really, I would say I feel like they spend their Valiant very, very early. I mean, nothing was softened up. Yeah, I feel like it was odd to spend your Valiant that early. I mean, they could have obviously chipped Diancie very heavily, but even with that, if they didn't get the crit, Diancie would have lived, and I don't know if we kill back, but we do a lot back. So even if they decided to stay in and just go ahead and go for the 3-co, yeah. So I feel like they got pretty impatient with the Valiant and spent that way too early. Obviously, Ogerpon is in here. It's going to Ivy Cudgel. Gouging Fire is not going to take anything from that. And we just declaw into the Dozo. Makes sense that Dozo's going to come in and be the guy to take on my Gouging Fire. Gouging Fire is, of course, defensive, though, in this matchup. But it does show Yawn. So we see 2 Yawn Mons here. Sorry, I had to get some water. And they're both, they're unaware Mons, so Yawn, probably one of their main ways they're going to deal with my Gouging Fire potentially setting up. Obviously, that's not really the point of that guy in this matchup, so yeah. I just go Corv as like a pivot, just kind of trying to scout the set. I want to see if it's Curse or anything like that. Yawn probably reveals to me that it's not Curse, so I just go back to Gouging Fire. If it's not Curse, then I don't really feel like I have anything to fear here. And I tear Dragon on the EQ, and obviously the moves are just continuing to be revealed. And then they outrage into my helmet. That's very good for me. I can just Morning Sun this off, and they're just gonna kill themselves with outrage into my Rocky helmet. So also I feel like kind of impatient with the Don Dozo. I kind of just came out and let him die. Yeah, but we'll take it, obviously. One of the biggest threats to my team, I guess, in terms of them defensively, can just eat for my Luna and my Gouging Fire. So that being gone is huge. Not really sure about the set that they brought. I feel like that was questionable. And especially questionable how they decided to play with that set. Not really sure what they were cooking there, but I understand from the point of view of like, what are you going to switch in to my Gouging Fire? You should have just been yawning it, though, obviously. And just getting your lefties. Anyways, we go Corv on Ursaluna. And we body press. That body press is probably questionable. I think I was just worried about them staying in and earth powering on my Roost. So that's fine. And I actually go Glamora here. Each Torch Song, even though it's so low, and I am in a really good spot here, and I can actually make a nice mid-ground play here. I can Earth Power because Skeledirge, obviously weak to Earth Power, doesn't quite get the kill, but if I can get 80% off on this Dirge for 20% of my Glamora, you know, I think that's a very well worth trade. And then I also obviously covered this play as well, them switching into the Revavroom on, I guess, expected Power Gem or Meteor Beam. I think I already revealed Black Sludge, so yeah. On expected Power Gem, I can Earth Power that, cover that play, and I don't think either of the other two were ever coming out there, so I think Earth Power is just a very simple play I can make to cover both of those options. Oh, goddamn. Obviously, I'm just going to let this guy die now. Get a little T-Spike up. We can Morning Sun here as they switch to the Dirge. And I can just Dragon Claw into this. I don't really care what this guy's doing. Honestly, having somebody die on this guy is not bad at all. But I can also just take advantage of it with Luna. But the reason having, like, had I just stayed in there and let him kill Gouging Fire, it would have been fine too. Because I would have got to my Battle Bond after as well. So, I was really in a very good spot here. I just the only thing is if I got if I let every single thing get in range of Ogerpon, and I didn't get my battle bond off before or whatever. That is like really the only way I could have lost the game at this point. But yeah, anyways, we take advantage of the Dirge by just going Ursaluna on the Yawn. Torch Song wasn't going to do enough to really threaten us either. And we do see the speed was enough to outspeed their Dirge and get a headlong rush off. Here, this is not something that I really want to let die because I can't get Greninja in after. So we just go Gouging Fire, and that's totally fine. I also could have just let Gouging Fire die there. But instead I just go Corv. So I figure I'd rather have Gouging Fire later than Corv later, especially since Corv is already so low. I just click Roost, and I figure it's fine if he Earth Powers or Focus Blasts, because like I said, I can just get Grin in after. And we're going to take the poison damage down as well. It's really not a big deal. And then they Vacuum Wave there. I just Roost up. They do miss out on the kill. I don't know if that was ever a roll to kill. It maybe was, maybe not. Not sure. I'll just Roost again. I'm not sure why they never Earth Powered. Probably should have. But we just keep roosting. We just keep roosting. And this guy goes down. I mean, I kind of feel like they didn't play it horribly. Because obviously, if you ever do kill Corv, I get Grin in. And Grin calls game with just by clicking Ice Beam. So I don't know if they played it that bad. They might have just been in a position where nothing was low enough for Ogerpon to win. But having Ogerpon last is probably better, and not giving me a chance to sack something is probably better, because then Grin would win. But it does allow me to end up saving differential here, because I just will hit it. I think I hit with a U-turn here, and we just go Gouging Fire, and then Gouging is going to be able to just Flare Blitz for game. And we do start off 1-0 +4. Really big game from defensive Gouging Fire here. Big game from Corv. Glamora put in some work too. Grin never got to hit the field, but oh boy, it could have. It really could have. Anyways, with that, I will see you guys next week for week 2 of UPDL and other videos, hopefully as well. I'll catch you.